Good morning. Welcome to Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Reverend Tiffany Anderson, the minister of this church, and my pronouns are she and her. I am so glad to be with you here today. Thank you for joining us. If you are visiting us for the first time, you are especially welcome. Phyllis over at the visitors table by the door can help you get oriented if you have any questions. If you have little ones, the visitors table can show you the way down to the nursery, which is available during the service for children ages 6 and younger. Please be aware that our services are filmed and posted on YouTube, and there's a small chance that you might be seen on our YouTube videos. If you want to make sure that you are not on camera, please sit in the perfume-free zone over here or in the section closest to the back table by the library. This Sunday, we hear reports from General Assembly, the annual gathering of the Unitarian Universalist Association, where delegates from the 1,048 worldwide Unitarian Universalist congregations gather to learn together and to do the business of the association. Many themes came up during our 3-day online event this June, but the one that we saw repeatedly was the call to love each other. Even when we disagreed strongly, love called us to make a bridge. And that's what today's opening hymn is about. Our opening hymn is number 325 in the thicker gray hymnal, Love Makes a Bridge. We will sing all 5 verses. Please rise with us in body or spirit for hymn 325. It is not always easy to find love at the center. There's not a set of easy instructions numbered 1 through 7 or maybe 8. It's not always easy to find love at the center. Today, in Covenant, we celebrate our living tradition, which invites us to take deep breaths of fresh air into the newness of every day, so our minds, hearts, and spirits will be continually nourished. It is not always easy to find love at the center. So for today, we gather in Covenant to celebrate the reality that love is at the core of our beings, and that love will guide us if we open ourselves to the challenges which love requires of us. May we accept this challenge with dignity and grace. Please sit with us in stillness. It is not always easy to find love at the center, but it is worth doing. Whether we're thinking locally about our wider movement, or if we're thinking locally or about our wider movement, it's not always easy to do the governance work of meeting and planning, voting and visioning. And yet, this work, when done with care and intentionality, is what helps us build toward our vision of a world of peace, justice, and liberty for all. It is what makes positive transformation possible. Having a vision to guide us helps us to be intentional about that transformation. And so we light our chalice every week with the words of our vision statement, which are printed in your bulletin. Will you say these words with me now? We work together as a church to transform ourselves, our community, and our world by sharing love, pursuing justice, and seeking wonder. We have a very special time for all ages today. It is our backpack blessing. A lot of people are starting school tomorrow. So we want to get all of our students and teachers ready to return to school. So if you have brought a backpack, a book bag, a teacher's badge, a special notebook, a pencil, or some other learning tool to be blessed, we invite you to bring them up here on this table in just a second, so that as a congregation, we can bless those in our congregation of any age that are actively working on their learning, and those who have committed to a profession of teaching them as well. Then the young and the young at heart can stay up front with me, and we're gonna bless all this stuff together. So come on up, and if you have a backpack or something else that you want blessed, put it on the table, and if you don't, I have some pencils to bless and share. No pressure. I was like, when you saw you were the only kid and went back and sat back down, I'm like, yeah, more power to you. But thanks for coming back up and hanging with Liz. I'm going to actually talk to everyone about this. So I think that works. Especially, I see a couple teenagers who are sitting back there who are like too old for time for all ages. But you know what? You're going back to school too. So I think this works. I'm going to just come on up here for this. So as usual, we have a basket here for the hunger, Helping the Hungry project. So that's available. The kids are collecting funds to help people with hunger, and that's always something that you guys can put money into. So this is the time of year where everyone is headed back to school, which can be filled with a lot of excitement. Would it work better for me to just go to the pulpit? I'm hearing some weird echoes. All right. So we're all headed back to school, right? That can be a lot of excitement, but it can also be a lot of stress, both for the kids and for the parents and for the teachers. And so part of how we as a church show our support for all of you students and parents and teachers is that we will bless backpacks and notebooks at the beginning of the year. So we've got a couple, but also I have a very special backpack right there that is kind of to represent all the backpacks that maybe didn't make it here today. We also have pencils, so if you are a teacher or a student and you want to take a blessed pencil with you today or take it to share with a student in your life, you are welcome to do that. But let's start by talking about what is a blessing. Can anyone tell me what we mean by blessing? Good thoughts. I like good thoughts. Yes? Good intentions. Good relationships. Okay, so we are, huh? Okay, yes. So with our relationships and our expression of love, we want to send good intentions to these folks. I like that. That's pretty much what I have written down here. So by giving us a chance to bless these items, that gives you a chance to carry these good intentions and our love and support when you're going to school or when you're doing your schoolwork at home. So we're going to fill these backpacks and other school supplies with blessings by naming the blessing, and then we're going to roll it up in a ball, and then we're going to toss it into the bags like a basketball, and y'all all get to help with this, okay? So we need to start by naming what we think we all need during the school year. And I always like to start with fun, because I think it's really hard to learn when you're not having any fun. And so I want everyone to just imagine what that fun looks like and feels like, and roll it up into a ball and throw it into the backpacks.
2 points.
Right? Some of you are definitely in the 3-point zone. So what else do we want to bless our students and teachers with today? Okay, I heard we're going to do confidence and then we'll do perseverance. Those two together are beautiful. Let's start with confidence. What's confidence look like? Put it in a ball and throw it in. All right, and now perseverance. That looks and feels very different, right? So what's perseverance look like and feel like? And throw that in. All right, what else do we want to bless people with? Patience, patience, patience. I need some patience. Let's roll some patience up in a ball. Huge ball. And throw it in. All right, what else do we need? Love. Let's roll some love up. We got lots of love. And throw it in. What else do we need?
Relief.
Relief. Relief. We need breaks, right? Let's roll some relief, some self-care, some breaks in there. And did I hear someone maybe say courage? Courage. Let's roll some courage up. Extra courage for our teachers this year. And throw it in.
Safety.
Safety. We're going to do safety, and then I think that's a great one to end on, y'all. Let's get some safety, some boundaries, some protection, safety, and in it goes. Y'all, thank you so much for blessing our kids, our teens, our teachers, and by extension, our parents. I hope that everyone will come get their stuff at the end of the service, or you'll have a bad time on Monday. And I also hope that you can take a pencil if you didn't bring anything, or if you have a student in your life that you want to send our blessings. In the meantime, I'd like to invite our programs trustee and chair of the Religious Services Committee, Bradley, to come up, and he's going to give his report from his time at General Assembly. Thank you.
Hello. I'm Bradley. I was one of the delegates for General Assembly. The most significant thing that happened during GA was that Article 2 was approved. I personally voted no on it, but not because Article 2 did not reflect our community's values. It represented our values perfectly. Nothing is incorrect about Article 2. The sun will still rise. God still loves you. And our church's beliefs will stay the same. I voted no on the Article 2 revision because it took something simple and concise and made it lengthy and complicated. See this bookmark here? The previous Article 2 was so simple that we could put it on a bookmark. If my dad or my mom or anybody were to say, "So what do you all believe anyway?" I could just give them the bookmark. The bookmark would answer 80% of their questions, what we believe and from where we base our sermons. I did a word count on the old Article 2 and the new Article 2. The new version is almost twice as long. The old version is 292 words and the new version is 555, almost double in size. Has our faith grown more complicated? Is our faith twice as complex as it was 20 years ago? I don't think so. It is possible that the commission knew that this revision would be seen as complicated because they chose to include in the revised article a visual aid. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be the first religion in the world to have bylaws with pictures. Does the Constitution of the United States have a visual aid inserted into it? Do congressional bills and laws have visual aids? Do Supreme Court rulings have visual aids? If anything, that just shows how simple we are, right? Absolutely nowhere else in the UUA bylaws are there pictures. They don't have a flow chart to outline the conditions of membership. They don't have a table to outline how General Assembly works. They don't have a bubble map detailing all the different committees of the association. So either everything else in the bylaws is perfectly understandable to the average person except what we believe in, or the commission wanted to do something different and include colorful pictures in a legal document. It does not seem appropriate. Like I said, though, Article 2 does not change in essence. Everything is the same, just wordier. And the supermajority of delegates voted for the change. So it isn't like this barely squeaked through with 50.1% of the vote. This change was wanted. And this change is not a danger to Unitarian Universalism. I'm just telling you why I voted no. There were a couple of other things voted on. The fancy word for these things are actions of immediate witness. They're basically resolutions. We at the UUA believe X. We intend to do Y. They are not legally binding to my knowledge, and our church can totally do what we want, but I doubt a majority of this congregation would disagree with those resolutions. And the first action of immediate witness was on climate change. The action said that climate change will negatively affect minorities and the impoverished the most. And because the UUA is committed to helping the disadvantaged, we need to use our resources and services to help those negatively impacted by climate change. Luckily, no one debated this resolution. It passed overwhelmingly, and I voted yes on this. The second action of immediate witness was not as amicable. The action called on UU congregations to be in solidarity with the Palestinians, who have dealt with forced occupation, discrimination, and now decimation by the Israeli government. They, quote, call for the liberation of Palestine and an end to the apartheid, declare our moral outrage and shared horror at Israel's massacre, mass incarceration, torture, destruction of the land, and poisoning soil for future generations, and decimations of system of care that support life in the region, unquote. And they want a permanent ceasefire, they want massive humanitarian aid, releasing all the captives, and an end to genocide around the world. There was a lot of back and forth on this. It got very heated, but it did pass, and I voted yes on that. I thank the board for selecting me as a GA delegate again. I am thankful that they trust me to represent my congregation well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bradley. Our commitment to community and to showing up for each other means that we set aside time every week for celebrating our joys and holding our sorrows, no matter what else is going on. So if you want to shine a light on your journey, you can share a joy or a sorrow in person by using these candle cards that are located on the back table. And if you'd like to share a joy or a concern from a distance, you can email me at minister@hvuuc.org. And we have several candles today. Very special candle for a friend of the congregation, Dallas Moss. These flowers are for her today. She has a brain tumor. And whether the outcome for her is going to be relief or an end of her journey, either way, it's going to be very, very hard. And so I want us to be very intentional today when we are singing our next hymn that we send love into these flowers. The flowers are going to be delivered to Dallas today. So thank you for sending your love there. A candle of joy from Raj. We have a visitor from Virginia with us today. Raj Mehta and his wife Sharmi were longtime, very involved members who served in many capacities here. Raj served as board president. Sharmi taught laughter yoga classes, and I think this is my first time getting to actually meet Raj in person after many, many years. So welcome home, Raj. Pray for all the teachers. This month, millions are going to be back in the trenches, and I second that. Lots of love to people who are doing one of the hardest and most important jobs on the planet right now. So we come, bringing all that we are and everything we carry to this table of joy and sorrow, grief and hope, community and care. If you wish to light your own candle, approach the side of the table that is closest to you, and the closer candle keeper will assist you. Please light candles at the back of the table first, so that no one has to reach over and open flame. And if you wish for us to light a candle for you, please raise your hand until I acknowledge you, and I will light a candle for you. And our community is so much larger than just those of us who are in the building this morning, so we light a candle to hold space for those who are not physically present with us, but are ever in our hearts. And we light a final candle for all that remains unspoken in our hearts and minds. I look nothing like Greg Kramer, but I am reading his report for General Assembly. He is traveling today. Greg is our stewardship trustee on the board of directors and was another one of our delegates. These are his words. At General Assembly, I decided to take some classes about stewardship since this was my first year doing this job here. This was a remote General Assembly, and so the meetings were all done in Zoom meetings. When I found out what I found out in the classes about stewardship was that different congregations use the term stewardship to mean different things. Some congregations have finance teams which include the treasurer and the stewardship trustee. In others, stewardship was more of a long-range planning and had nothing to do with raising money at all. The first session was a general look at stewardship. So we had a short talk from our leaders and we broke up into small groups to discuss how each of our congregations do stewardship. So I talked about how we are a small to medium-sized church of 150 plus members, and we did well during COVID because of how quickly we went to YouTube services. We discussed other ways to get donations by having our auction, Green Arts Festival, and grocery card sales. The second class was about endowment funds. You may not know that we have an endowment fund and that this year's budget had 5% of the budget paid for by the endowment fund. The endowment fund receives funds just like any gift the church receives, but you have to designate it for the endowment fund. People donate money to this fund for extraordinary reasons, like in memory of a loved one, graduation, marriage, a will, or special gifts. There don't have to be a special reason, and then these funds are put into an investment account that is different from the church's general fund investments. The last session was about the ask. How should a stewardship committee talk to congregants about giving during a capital campaign or an annual pledge drive? I will tell you that I'll never run a campaign like they suggested. And again, this is Greg speaking. We did amazingly well for our previous campaigns, which is correct, and I'll be doing the same in the future. Like any class, you learn some and are challenged to think about the teacher's opinions and then choose what you want to do. As for Article 2, I made up my mind about how to vote during the discussion about the proposal. I didn't like the wordiness of Article 2. For a document to be clear and memorable, the writing must be clear and concise for easy recall. This was a document written by a committee and amended by individuals to only add more redundant words. One of our attendees commented, "If you need a diagram to make a document understandable, the document is too long." But I had to also remember that the committee members working on this were very passionate about their job and took a long time to write this. I must trust the people chosen. Without trust, we fail to be community. There were also hundreds of proposals to modify Article 2, and they only added to the wordiness. Article 2 is supposed to be reviewed every 15 years, and few changes have been made recently. I made my decision during the debate. I watched a diverse set of people compassionately argue for change. Most of the concerned people were not for the change. They were comfortable keeping this Article 2 because it was first passed 40 years ago and they grew up talking about it. And we had one change to add the seventh principle in the 1970s. A worthy document or not, Unitarian Universalist must be ever looking to the future. Our church reviews policies every 3 years. Our covenant, mission, and purpose are all less than 6 years old. We here exemplify that change is good. During many debate sessions, someone said, the role of the minister is to comfort the uneasy and make the comfortable uneasy. Change is inevitable, and change must happen to continue to grow and become wiser. I voted for change. These are the words of Greg Kramer, who's traveling today, and could not be here. In that Article 2 revision, love was placed at the center of the values. So today, our choir brings us a hymn that centers a love that will never let us go.
Hello, my name is Sophia. I've been a member of this church for a year, but I've attended much longer, and I'm a part of the RE Collaborative. I had the privilege of being a delegate for HVUUC in this year's General Assembly. Going in, I knew this would be one of the most contentious GAs in recent memory due to the proposed Article 2 changes, divisive actions of immediate witness, and a business resolution supporting trans and non-binary individuals. With divisive social justice issues being considered and changes to our faith's 7 principles, I assumed less than charitable attitudes would prevail during the discussions. Thankfully, the GA staff predicted the oncoming storm and were prepared with several countermeasures to combat those acting out of covenant. The first general session was about introducing core staff and setting up rules and expectations for engagement. The GA care team was introduced, which included chaplains, moderators for online spaces, and teams focused on conflict resolution for those out of covenant. The role of the process observer was also introduced. The process observers were a group of individuals that were focused on changing behaviors and bringing up problematic attitudes in real time during the general sessions. The staff at GA wanted to make sure that concerns were addressed in real time, especially when it came to matters pertaining to historically marginalized communities. The process observers were tasked with screening for sexist, racist, ableist, transphobic, or otherwise inflammatory statements, and then passing that information on to moderators to address, or personally tackling the topic by taking the floor during the meeting. General sessions 2 through 4 is where the bulk of the voting happened. As stated above, there were multiple orders of business over the several days at GA. Even with frequent mental health breaks and reminders to be kind to ourselves and others during the discussion, there were noticeably insensitive voices that made their way through. Some of these comments were not related to GA at all. Most memorably was a man ranting at fellow boomers about the 2020 election. Other comments, while more on the nose, were just as unhinged, stating untrue facts about transgender and non-binary youth, promoting anti-Semitism during the action of immediate witness supporting Palestine, and the general notion that getting rid of the 7 principles would lead to the end of our faith tradition. While the moderators and process observers did the best they could, people were still hurt and needed spaces to heal. This led to the creation of 2 safe spaces, one led by trans and non-binary chaplains for trans and non-binary people, and the other for those of Jewish heritage. These spaces were important, helping those that had been wounded by hateful rhetoric present in the debates and restoring participation for attendees in crisis. I am proud to be part of a faith tradition that accepts and embraces people regardless of race, gender identity, or ability. I appreciate the UUA so dutifully making space for all and attempting to become fully inclusive and diversity-centered like our faith calls us to do.
Our reading was the opening reading for Session 3 at General Assembly, shared by Reverend Jakaran Olayola. Community building as a spiritual practice is not a simple or easy endeavor. It always takes longer than we think it should, longer than we think is necessary, and longer than we have the patience for. Yet ultimately, it is not about what we think or what we like, but how we are with each other in life, in relationship. How do we practice getting together, making mistakes, experiencing a disappointment, and even a disillusionment without giving up the aspiration of our beautiful and beloved community?
Who are we? This is really the question of General Assembly every year. It was just a little more in the forefront of everyone's minds as we debated the option of adjusting our identity language in Article 2. We've heard from Greg and Bradley about how they voted and why, and both have great points. Any list is going to be incomplete and we are often trading one set of pros and cons for another. And for me, I am here to be the minister to the folks who like the principles, and the folks who like the values, and the folks who like it all, and the folks who walked in here this Sunday for the very first time and have no idea what the heck we're talking about. I hope you come back and try us a second time. I can use the principles to talk about matters of ultimate meaning. I can use the values to talk about matters of ultimate meaning. I can use the Tao Te Ching to talk about matters of ultimate meaning. I can use the Bible to talk about matters of ultimate meaning. And I can use that funny thing that my friend said this week to talk about matters of ultimate meaning. Because matters of ultimate meaning will always, always be bigger than our lists and our stories. They will always be bigger than a legal document, but they are all we have when we are working together to point to these matters of ultimate meaning. And here's how I experience these values, which are a small part of the entire Article 2 text that is included in your bulletin. Love is at the center, and I love that. You have heard me talking about being the church that loves everybody for years now, and love is a central part of our church's vision statement, and love was never said out loud in the principles. So I love centering love. Love is a big concept. We can spend our whole lives living it out. So while the simplicity of just love is there, I like that we do attach a few ways of how we love to our central concept of love. Can you bring the graphic back up? Because, yeah, we need a visual aid. We love through recognizing our interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. With reverence for the great web of life and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We build love in our religious diversity through pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We love by pursuing justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We recognize that an essential piece of love is allowing it to transform ourselves, our community, and our world. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We love with our generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. And we love guided by equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. I think the values approach is really interesting because the shortest version is just 7 words for us to keep exploring and giving flesh in our lives. We can even use the kid-friendly acronym invented by the Joseph Priestley District and my friend Jen Raffensperger, JETPIG. JETPIG. Justice, Equity, Transformation, Pluralism, Independence, and Generosity. And I like to imagine that the JETPIG has a big heart on it for love. There are people out here drawing these and even making plushies out of them, and I'm sad I don't have one for you today. If we want a little more intellectualization of the value, a little more than JETPIG, we have the statements that come right after the value words, and I actually read those as I was talking to you about these values. And if we want to take it further and talk about how we're actually going to live it, then we have the We Covenant to lines under each one that explain it further. Like our values say, we're pluralistic. We're pluralistic in our theology, where a pagan, a Christian, and an atheist can walk into church together and it's not a joke begging for a punchline. We're also pluralistic in our understanding that there are different worship elements that get us to a moment of transcendence. Last week, some of us got there with Pink Floyd. And this week, some of us got here with intricate choral singing, and most of us need a moment of silence and a candle. And we're pluralistic when it comes to how our principles, values, and sources build a vision for us to journey together. For me, the journeying together is always going to be the important part. So I'm going to keep on being both and, you're probably getting used to that, with our theology, with our music, and our principles and values. And I will keep on putting love at the center, which I have been doing long before it found its way into our values statement. General Assembly had a lot of ups and downs this year, and sometimes doing governance work is just like that. And in a lot of ways, doing governance work is an act of love too, and anyone who's served on the board here and who has worked hard knows that governance work is a challenging act of love. One of the lowest lows for me personally came in the form of some really hurtful commentary against the business resolution titled Embracing Transgender, Non-Binary, and Intersex People as a Fundamental Expression of Unitarian Universalist Religious Values. It was a business resolution that passed with an overwhelming majority, well over 90%. But we did have to endure commentary from an unkind, very vocal minority before the vote. When the debate was over, a member of the UUA board representing the proposer of the business resolution was given the final 90 seconds of debate time, which was the custom of this year's General Assembly, that the proposer of the thing got the last 90 seconds to make final remarks. This is what she had to say, and it's our chalice extinguishing for today. To my trans, non-binary, intersex, or gender diverse beloveds, lean in. Lean in. I love you. I love you. I love you. Please do not leave this space without feeling my love and the love of others who see you as divine. I love you. You are divine. I love you. You are holy. I love you. You know who you are. I love you. You are worthy of being whoever you need to be to survive and thrive in this world. I love you, and I will say it for 50 more seconds if I need to. I love you. 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 Do not leave this space without knowing that you are loved. I love you. You are deeply loved, just as you are. I love you. Church, I don't think it gets any simpler than that. Thank you for being with us today. Unitarian Universalist trivia for you. The young woman who did that got 900 Facebook friend requests the day after. If I was still on Facebook, she would have gotten one from me too. Our closing hymn is number 1057, Go Lift It Up, in the thinner teal hymnal. This is also when we collect our offering. Whether you are a pledger or if you just throw what you can into the plate when you can, we are grateful for how you support us as we are building this beloved community together, one choice to love at a time. Please rise with us in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1057, Go Lift It Up. We will sing it through twice. So much for your generosity this week and every week. Here's our benediction. May justice lead us to the calling of this moment. May wonder meet us right where we're at. May we discover our collaborators and our companions, and may love guide us on our journey of transformation. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.
Church.